Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Jade Dynasty based on novel. So let's start. Immediately everyone started shouting, leapt up together. Xiaobai frowned slightly, her expression showing disdain. Her figure wavered and flashed past several people in succession, about to fly up when suddenly behind her a pure Buddhism incantation was heard and a golden light surged over. Xiaobai frowned, for the first time her face revealed shock. She turned and waved her sleeves. A faint green light flew out and blocked that golden light. The great Brahmin wisdom, she looked at Fa Xiong, nodded and said, "Didn't expect that Qingyun Temple has such a talent like you, really a mighty good faction sect that can stand shoulder to shoulder with Qingyun." Fa Xiong brought his palms together and said, "Many thanks for patron's praise." Although his words were courteous, but after he placed his hands together, the golden light became even more powerful. A golden dazzling pearl flew out from his sleeve, spinning rapidly towards Xiaobai. Xiaobai with a snort, withdrew the green light, her body together with ghostly floated up, straight up towards the sky. After a moment, at where she was standing just, a loud boom and a radius of 2 Zhong crater emerged in the ground. Unwilling to be entangled in this anymore, Xiaobai took the opportunity to escape, but unexpectedly dazzling blue light, sigh, sharp sounds instantly exploded, charging towards her. It was Lu Zueqi's Tianhua celestial sword which had arrived. Xiaobai's face turned cold, suddenly stretched and directly plunged her hand into the thousands of lights. A zhinged crisp and clear sound resounded. The light from Lu Zueqi's sword disappeared. Shock registered on her face. Tianhua had also returned to her hand. Xiaobai did not hesitate further. Carrying ghostly and like an apparition, disappeared in the mid-air. The crowd was shocked. After a moment, someone saw a white figure, like lightning swept towards the opposite shore, and shouted out loudly. Xiaobai was seen entering a wooden house. The next moment, before the rest arrived, again flew out from the window. Other than ghostly on her shoulder, there was another small grey figure. It was the monkey Xiao Hui, who was still snoring. Until the group arrived, Xiaobai was already nowhere to be seen. The good faction people cursed in anger, but most of them were secretly shocked. The skills of the 9-tailed celestial fox were that high, they really could not underestimate. By then, the battles in 7 Mile Cave had finally ceased completely. What was left were an inferno sea and innumerable Miao commoners' heart-wrenching cries. From far, the injured Tuma Jiu tribe leader was yelling, leading a group of people and running up the mountain, evidently to check on the great shaman's injuries. And over there, the great shaman was already surrounded by people. The shoutings reverberated over from far. The group returned to where they were previously, the fiery flames making a racket, crackling sounds of the fire devouring the woods made repetitively, and there were even big wooden beams crashing down frequently. The situation was really devastating. Fa Xiong shook his head and sighed. Compassion filled his face. He was the first to fly into the inferno fire and help those Miao commoners in putting the fire out. Following his lead, the rest of the Fen Xiong disciples also followed. By then Li Zun could feel the pain in his right hand had slightly subsided. Seemed like as long as he circulated his internal energy to resist it, he was not in danger. He then felt slightly relieved. Just when he was deliberating if he should follow the rest to help with the fires, a voice was heard suddenly behind him, Li senior brother. Li Zun was surprised and turned around. Lu Xueqi was standing there. Tianhua was back in its sheath and held in her hand. Her white clothes under the fire's reflection rippled. That bloody handprint on her clothes looked even more glaring and she seemed to have no intention of concealing it. Her face was as cold as usual, gazed indifferently at Li Zun. Li Zun for some reason felt uncomfortable with her gaze, said, "What is it, Lu junior sister?" Lu Xueqi quietly watched Li Zun, after a while, then unhurriedly said, "That wound at Ghostly's right shoulder, was it inflicted by you using jade ruler?" Li Zun's mouth suddenly felt dry, after a moment honestly said, "Yes." The hand which held Tianhua instantly tightened. On her fair skin, a faint green revealed. Just that her face was still cold and aloof like snow, without any expression. She nodded slightly, turned and left. Li Zun suddenly felt an inexplicable anger, shouted, "Lu junior sister, what do you mean by this?" Lu Zueqi's body paused. Under the surrounding raging fire flames, her white figure seemed to be burning too. Good ruler skills. Amazing. The faint voice, from that figure back facing him, traveled over, one word by one word, drawling and extremely clear. Li Zun suddenly was speechless. Lu Xueqi walked on. Suddenly in a big house above her which had been burning for some time, with a loud crack, an enormous beam burning with fiery flames fell towards the direction of her head. Li Zun was shocked, but before he could shout out, Lu Xueqi with a soft whistle, for some reason, in that whistle, it contained grief and indignation. Her left hand waved. Tianhua's celestial sword still in its sheath flew up. The blue light exploded, in the rumble, broke this enormous wood into pieces. Innumerable fire sparks flew out, covering the sky. After a moment, fell like rain, extremely magnificent, obstructing between Li Zun and her, drowning out her figure completely. Li Zun watched that fire rain in the sky, for a moment was stunned, gazed dazedly. The late night. Xiao Bai transformed into a lightning-fast white light, traversed between the lofty ridges and towering mountains, leaving the 7-mile cave far away. About slightly after an hour, she then found a deserted place halfway up a lofty mountain and stopped there. She gently placed Ghost Li down on the ground, looking at this man covered in blood. Large amounts flowed down to his hand, slowly absorbed in by the sinister orb which was glowing in red. The sinister orb was as if it was a spirit accompanying beside Ghost Li, incessantly devouring its master's essence. Xiao Bai heaved a sigh, stretched her hand and tried to take the soul-absorbing stick from Ghost Li, but unexpectedly, even though he was unconscious, his hand was still gripping the evil stick tightly, as if this thing was his only support. Xiao Bai, after trying twice to pull it from his hand and failed, shook her head and gave up. Looking at her own hand, her middle finger on her right hand, which was originally fair, had now slowly turned red and indistinctly trembling. Xiao Bai smiled, quietly said, "What a good Tianhua sword, it is really as reputed, a worthy celestial weapon." A sound was heard suddenly beside her. Xiao Bai was startled and turned to look. It was Xiao Hui, who was still unconscious, fell from her shoulder and happened to land beside its seriously injured master, its mouth still making sounds, its hand stretched out to scratch its head, and then it fell asleep again. Xiao Bai found it infuriating and funny at the same time, loudly said, "Damn monkey, your idiot master is almost dying." Xiao Bai was speechless, rolled her eyes at the monkey, with one kick pushed the monkey away, and then crouched down beside Ghost Li, assessed his injuries and then shook her head while sighing. The night was as cold as water, chilling deep into the bones. That chill seemed to have experienced it many years ago. While Ghost Li dazedly woke up, that thought flashed past his head. Opening his eyes, the first sight was the sky full of stars. The southern border night sky, right now, was not in flames, there was no racket, and finally it revealed its original tranquil appearance. In the sky, innumerable clusters of stars twinkled. Big or small, like human eyes, maybe with some mischief, ridiculing and watching the mortal world. Excruciating pain from his right shoulder, and then his entire body, aching all over. Even him, who was of a strong character, could not help but suck in a mouthful of cold air. "You are awake." A calm with some concern voice was heard beside him. Ghost Li turned and saw Xiao Bai's face. He forced himself to sit up and inadvertently moved his wound. He could not help but frown. Xiao Bai looked at him and said, "You are quite seriously wounded, better take a good rest first." Ghost Li looked down, saw his right shoulder was bandaged with white cloth. The other smaller wound areas had also telltale signs of being cared for. There was no other people around, so naturally it must be Xiao Bai's efforts while he was unconscious. He quietly said, "It must be you who saved me, thank you." Xiao Bai shrugged her shoulders and said, "I did not do anything. It is also mainly because of your tough life. Even I also did not expect that you would be able to survive under those circumstances." Ghost Li grunted. Flashes of the 7-mile cave battles recalled in his mind. Suddenly felt downhearted, lost for thoughts at where he was and did not wish to speak anymore. Xiao Bai faintly said, "Speaking of which, the Miao commoners in the 7-mile cave are the most unlucky. Their houses were burned, casualties and dead innumerable, even their revered enigma great shaman. I think he is also most likely." Ghost Li suddenly was shocked. What happened to him? Ghost Li's voice suddenly turned hoarse. Xiao Bai, still with her expression of indifference, said, "I remembered that old man fighting with that strange person up in the sky, defeated when his strength was gone. He was severely injured, even their sacred weapons. How is he? Is he dead?" Ghost Li abruptly crawled up, cut off Xiao Bai's words and evidently not interested in the Miao's sacred weapon. Just that when he stood up, his face grimaced in pain, his legs weakened and his body wavered, almost collapsing. Xiao Bai was about to support him, but Ghost Li had already with big breaths stabilized his body with difficulty, but his forehead was drenched in cold sweats. Xiao Bai slowly withdrew her hand, quietly watched him, said, "Why are you doing this?" Ghost Li breathlessly said, "The great shaman, what exactly happened to him? Is he all right?" Xiao Bai said, "When I took you away, I saw the Miao people clustering around him. Whether he is alive or dead, honestly, I also don't know." Agony and regret flashed past Ghost Li's eyes. He gritted his teeth, turned and left, but in a few steps, Suddenly a muffled groan, the white bandage cloth over his right shoulder wound had already turned red. At the same time his face was convulsing. Xiao Bai behind him, faintly said, "You better rest first." Qingyun sect's celestial sword wield thunder true formula. How would it be that easy to take down? Ghost Li felt his body channels were in a mess, his breathings in disarray, his cultivated Qingyun skills, Qianyin Temple Great Brahmin wisdom and also the secret Qianshu skills, all had jumbled up into one big mess. Ever since he had turned his back on Qingyun 10 years ago, massacred thousands in the evil sect internal fights, his injuries today was considered the most severe. Lu Zueqi's cultivation and training really progressed at a tremendous pace. While he was bitterly thinking about this, he was still forcefully trying to bear the pain in his body and slowly stepping forward, making his way ahead. You disregard your life and death just to see that great shaman. Is because of Bai Yao, right? Xiao Bai's voice, faintly heard behind him. Ghost Li did not reply, only slowly made the second step. Xiao Bai behind him, looked at that stubborn figure, heaved a long sigh, shook her head, laughed bitterly, said, "You are great, you are great." Speaking, she slowly followed along. Just that after a while, she suddenly said, "That white-attired lady who fought with you tonight, comparing to Bai Yao, who do you like better?" Ghost Li's body abruptly stopped, he whipped his head around, stared at Xiao Bai. Xiao Bai's countenance did not change, under the fierce stare of Ghost Li, was still smiling at him. Ghost Li, breathing with heavy breaths, slowly turned his head around, the next moment he unhurriedly, as if speaking to deep down inside his heart, quietly said, "In this world, only Bai Yao is true to me." Xiao Bai was silent. For her, even if I died, what does it matter? Ghost Li slowly continued, then moved his body, walked ahead. In the horizon, starlight resplendent, spilling onto the world. Xiao Bai sighed, followed along. After walking a few steps, she suddenly turned back to look at the place where they were resting previously, loudly called out, "Damn monkey, we are leaving." Xiao Bai, yesterday, he was the first to fly off and after a night he was the last to arrive. This senior from Fenxiong Valley made everyone turned and looked at each other. A cold laughter came from Fenxiong Valley Lushan. "Senior brother, you are really early." Shangguan Si was expressionless, but he was frowning tightly and obviously he looked troubled. He could not be bothered with Lushan, walked around and surveyed the surroundings, shook his head slightly, sighed and spoke to Li Zun, "The matters here are more or less settled, bring the juniors back to Fenxiong Valley first." Li Zun actually also felt disgruntled and had many questions. He wanted to question this teacher uncle, where exactly had he gone last night? If not with Shangguan Si, this highly skilled senior around, it would be much easier to deal with Ghost Li and there would not be so much trouble. Just that those were only his thoughts. In the end he did not have the guts to offend Fenxiong Valley Shangguan Si, whose status was on par with the Valley Master, Yun Yilan. He immediately acknowledged with a yes. Lu Shun stood at the side and was infuriated, said to Shangguan Si, "What do you mean by this? Last night you ran off and today you are giving orders upon your arrival." Shangguan Si indifferently said, "I met with some incidents last night. I will tell you the details after we return to the valley." Lu Shun's face changed and was about to comment further when Shangguan Si, clearly irritated, with a slight anger said, "Lao Sai, we will speak when we are back." Shangguan Si's expression was stern, but not angry. After being shouted by him, Lu Shun for that moment did not dare to speak anymore. Li Zun hesitated for a moment, but eventually still informed Shangguan Si, "Teacher uncle, after we return, that nine-tailed celestial fox." Shangguan Si shook his head and said, "The nine-tailed celestial fox's issue is not urgent, we will speak when we are back." Li Zun did not dare to comment further, nodded his head and led the group off. Before he left, he could not help but turn to look at Lu Xueqi, who was standing together with Fa Xiong. That white-attired girl's face was cold, did not even glance at him. Li Zun with a long sigh in his heart, like turning over a bottle of 5 flavors, an indescribable feeling, he left slowly. Lu Shun, although not very willing, but also followed along. Shangguan Si sighed, turned and cupped his hands before Fa Xiong and Lu Xueqi, said, "Both made great efforts to assist our lowly valley. My humble self is really grateful." Fa Xiong and Lu Xueqi did not dare to be lacking in manners, returned the gesture. Fa Xiong smiled and said, "Shangguan teacher uncle is too polite. Qingyun, Qianyin Temple and Fenxiong Valley are part of good faction family. Coming to each other aid is one's duty." But teacher uncle's expression don't look very good, not sure if something happened last night. While speaking, he looked at Shangguan Si, an amiable smile on his lips, an indescribable compassion and calm. It was a look of a Buddhism holy monk. Mountaintop. Xiao Bai supporting Ghost Li, gazed towards 7 Mile Cave, watching the remaining last 2 outsiders also heading towards the sky, gradually disappearing. They have left. Xiao Bai smiled, said. Ghostly silently looked away from the clouds, paused for a while and said, let's go down. Xiao Bai nodded, but looking at Ghostly's body, gently said, why not take a rest first? Your wound is again bleeding so much. Ghostly shook his head, said, my body is of no concern, finding the great shaman is more important. Speaking, he was the first to stood up. The familiar shriek sounded, a grey figure jumped out from beside and leapt up Ghostly's shoulder, although its movements seemed slightly unsteady, but the monkey, after waking up from a drunken stupor, was clearly in a good mood, grinning all the way. Xiao Bai also stood up, walked to Ghostly, angrily stared at Xiao Hui, said, what are you smiling about? Last night your idiot master nearly died. You know, a low growl. It was Xiao Hui baring its teeth, making angry body gestures, revealing its sharp teeth and staring around, its two monkey hands clenched in fists, waving up and down, looking to challenge someone. Xiao Bai humphed, said, stop pretending, firing after the horse. Xiao Hui rolled its eyes at Xiao Bai, Ji, called out twice, shrank its body and pulled Ghostly clothes, a nonchalant look, sticking close only to its master. Ghostly patted its head, did not say anything, continued to walk down the hill. Xiao Hui turned around, looking extremely conceited, stuck out its tongue at Xiao Bai. Xiao Bai, with a wry laugh, shook her head and sighed, followed along, muttering in her breath, this era, even monkey also has character. They walked into the 7-mile cave and met the Miao people again. Each one of them had hatred in their eyes, and one of them even recognized Ghostly's bloody demonic appearance. The terrified look revealed on his face. Xiao Bai saw Ghostly walking with difficulty, hurried up to support him. When Ghostly tried to shrug it off, she quietly said, I'm afraid those Miao people will not let us see the great shaman. Ghostly, supported by Xiao Bai, was really not used to it and was about to struggle free and walk by himself. After hearing Xiao Bai's words, was stunned and said, what is it? Xiao Bai looked ahead. Ghostly followed her gaze. Both of them were heading to the altar, but at the foot of the mountain, several sturdy Miao men were assembled there, guarding the only path up the mountain. And when they saw these two outsiders approaching, as if they were facing strong foes, some of the soldiers already had their spears ready, facing Ghostly and Xiao Bai. Ghostly was silent, but his footsteps never stopped, continued to walk towards the group. Xiao Bai beside him, glanced sideways at him, said, if they do not let us go up, what do we do? Ghostly did not answer. Crouching at Ghostly's shoulder, Xiao Hui was also peering around. Its expression was extremely surprised. It did not understand why only after one night, the place had totally changed. When they came near, as Xiao Bai expected, all of the Miao soldiers, not one back away, each with hostile looks, gathered at the path to the mountain, weapons out of their sheath, facing both of them. Ghostly's lips twitched, agitation flashed in his eyes. Just that at this moment, he knew he should not force his way in. Against the Miao soldiers he still would be able to explain himself, but once if any of the Miao people was hurt, even if the great shaman was well and safe, he would not be able to help him and treat Bai Yao. He breathed deeply, humbly said, we wish to see the great shaman. Suddenly, hurried footsteps were heard from behind the crowd. A young shaman-looking Miao person ran down from the mountain. After assessing the two outsiders, he went near Tu Ma Jiu and whispered to him. Tu Ma Jiu was clearly stunned, disbelieving what he had heard, questioned quietly in Miao language, and that young shaman resolutely nodded. Tu Ma Jiu heaved a long sigh, turned and said, the great shaman wants to see both of you. Follow this shaman and go up. Ghostly and Xiao Bai were both surprised. Xiao Bai frowned and thought to herself how would the great shaman knew they had come. Ghostly instead was delighted. Since the great shaman was willing to meet him, most likely he would also be willing to treat Bai Yao. They followed the young shaman and passed through the crowd, walked up the mountain. The Miao stares revealed their bewilderment and anger, but the great shaman clearly still dominated over them. Not one walked forward to stop them. Instead, after they had just left, some Miao spoke in gibberish to Tu Ma Jiu, and following which, many more joined in. Probably most of the people did not wish for the evil outsiders to enter the altar again. Tu Ma Jiu berated them with a few words, at the same time glanced towards the altar. The commotion from the Miao crowd then gradually lowered down. Ghostly and Xiao Bai followed the shaman who was leading the way, walked up to that platform in front of the altar. Both of them noticed almost at the same time, the front part of the platform, originally constructed and leveled using enormous stones, were laced with innumerable cracks, extending out in all directions from where the great shaman had stood last night, and in the centermost, the rocks had been smashed into pieces. Both of them glanced at each other. Xiao Bai's expression did not change much, but Ghostly felt slightly shocked. The southern border at the periphery had never attracted the Central Plains' cultivated sex attentions. Not only the good faction did not think much of this place, even the evil sect also disdained it. Now that this time he had witnessed it himself, the enigmatic shaman skills of the southern border were really something not to be trifled with. The shaman before them urged them with strange meow words. Ghostly and Xiao Bai turned and walked over. Deep inside the altar, the dimness in it was like an endless tunnel, swallowing their figures in it. In the direction of the south, far from the 7-mile cave, that stretch of lofty mountain valleys, undulating mountain ranges, were the 10,000 great mountains that the southern border people's countenances changed upon hearing its name. Over here, sunlight almost was never seen, dark clouds swirled around, black wind howled. Occasionally some brave hunters during the famine years ventured into the mountains to hunt, but not one came out again. And among the southern border 5 tribes, eons ago their ancestors had already passed down a warning to never enter that sinister mountain range, because in there was the abominable Devil King which all southern tribes feared and his terrible barbarians henchmen. For so many years, this warning had been passed down from generations to generations and had always been known among the southern border 5 tribes. With the passing of time, the 10,000 great mountains shrouded within the black clouds became even more mysterious. A dark shaman clothed in black, like a spectre, suddenly appearing beside this mountain cave, even though it was already daylight, but around him, darkness seemed to be still enshrouding him. Behind him an enormous beast slowly appeared, its 4 paws treading the ground, the sharp claws protruding out was extremely sharp, its back arched. On its long and thick neck was an enormous head. With one glance, almost could believe it was the legendary celestial dragon in Central Plains legends. However, after taking a closer look one would discover the differences. The huge beast had a ferocious mouth of a prey, extremely sharp jagged teeth, the eyes giving off ominous glare frequently, guardedly surveying the surroundings, like it was choosing the humans to devour. 7-mile cave, Meow's altar. The tranquility in here seemed not to be affected by the big battle last night. Led by that young shaman, Ghostly and Xiao Bao walked soundlessly in the altar. Crouching at Ghostly's shoulder, Xiao Hui seemed much quieter than usual, as if the solemn atmosphere had also made it well behaved. Traversing the long corridor, they arrived before the stone chamber located deep inside the altar. The young shaman nodded slightly without saying any words to them, turned and left, disappearing into the darkness not long after, leaving the both of them alone. Ghostly and Xiao Bai looked at each other. Ghostly said, "Let's go in." Xiao Bai nodded and both of them walked in. The chamber was still as dusky, a fire pit was still burning in the recesses. In front of the fire, a stooped figure was still sitting back facing them. This familiar scene, for a moment, made last night's event seem surreal. Maybe it was just a dream. A slight cough was heard from that old man. The firelight casted upon his figure quivered violently, breaking the stillness and bringing them back to the reality again. "You all have come," the great shaman, after a fit of coughing, unhurriedly said using his voice which had turned slightly hoarse, "Come over." Ghostly and Xiao Bai walked to his back and sat down quietly before this frail old man. For some reason, both of them did not know what to say. The great shaman seemed to sigh softly, said, "My people were rude to you all just now, please do not mind." Ghostly nodded his head slightly, said, "I won't dare." The great shaman again coughed twice, but became silent and did not speak. Ghostly and Xiao Bai could only wait patiently. Unexpectedly the wait became half a day. That great shaman seemed to fall asleep, unmoving and not a single response. Ghostly felt more and more anxious. Firstly, he did not know what exactly the great shaman was thinking. Secondly, the unexpected attack last night almost made him filled with remorse for his whole life. If Bai Yao was impeded because of himself, he would not be able to atone for it even if he died 100 times. Right now, after waiting for a long while, the great shaman did not look like he was going to start speaking at any time now. Xiao Bai was still patient, and not at all worried. Xiao Hui was already restless. The monkey was inherently playful, and could no longer stand the solemn atmosphere. With a grab and slide, it had quietly slipped down from Ghostly's shoulder. Ghostly really did not wish to delay any further, spoke, "Senior, I had beseeched you that." Before the word matter could be uttered, the great shaman suddenly interrupted, "Young man, let me tell you a story." Ghostly was stunned and glanced sideways at Xiao Bai. She was also frowning and she looked perplexed. Obviously she too did not know what was the elder's intention. Just that right now they needed his help, and Ghostly could only sigh in his heart and suppress the anxiety, said, "Senior, please speak." The great shaman with his hoarse voice, in this dark recesses of the altar, faintly resounded, as if after thousands and hundreds of years. At this moment it had now quietly turned back. Our southern border is located south of the Divine Land and has never been as prosperous as the Central Plains, but we have a unique origin. Ghostly quietly nodded, The unique custom of the southern border was indeed different from Central Plains. The world now know that there are 5 tribes over at our southern border, residing together on this piece of land. But in fact, long ago, Miao, Li, Zhuang, Tu, Gao Shan are actually all from the same Paleo tribe, called Shaman tribe. Ghost Li and Xiao Bai were surprised, not to mention that Ghost Li never heard of this before. Even Xiao Bai did not have any impression of it. The great shaman's figure, refracted by the burning fire to be slightly twisted, reflected onto the floor, his voice at the same time together with the firewood's crackling sounds in the fire, faintly, carried the vicissitudes of the past. The tribe legend said, in the ancient times, the Paleo shaman tribe managed the southern border, its power great and produced powerful shamans each generations. In each generation the shaman lady that served the deity had the strongest shaman skills. The so-called shaman lady was a virgin picked from each generation of the Paleo shaman tribe with the highest spiritual intelligence aptitude, serving the shaman deity in the altar, specializing in studying the shaman skills and commanding the shaman tribe. Those kind of days went on for many years. Ghost Li and Xiao Bai raised their heads slightly. Both of them were intelligent people. Right now they knew that the great shaman had arrived at the key point of his story. And Xiao Hui by then had already sneaked off somewhere in the dark. However, at the 3rd year of the 11th succession of the shaman lady's reign, in the southern border 10,000's great mountains, something strange happened. The great shaman's voice, still hoarse, but his tone had become higher, as if his indistinctly agitated internal emotions were revealing out slowly. In the 10,000's great mountains, a creature who claimed to be beast deity appeared. Nobody knew the origins of this creature. It was as if he had appeared out of the thin air from the precipitous harsh 10,000's great mountains. In the beginning, nobody noticed the existence of that creature, but gradually, the shaman tribe people felt something different. The undulating mountain ranges of the 10,000's great mountains, although were precipitous, but the forests were exuberant and animals abundant. The best highly skilled hunters of the tribe had always been hunting there. But ever since from that time, in the mountains, a poisonous miasma suddenly appeared. Once inhaled, the entire human body would become ulcerous and die. And what's even stranger was, the animals had also started to change. Some became beasts with human bodies, extremely savage and cruel, killing humans without provocation, and sharing the kill. The people were absolutely terrified. Ghost Li and Xiao Bai could not help but glance at each other. The things that the great shaman was telling were really strange and unheard of. The great shaman paused for a while. He had seemed to sink into the past events of the ancient history. After a while, he unhurriedly continued. At that time, the shaman lady gathered all of the shaman masters in the tribe for discussion, and sent out a troop of elite warriors led by 3 shaman masters to investigate and find out what strange thing had exactly happened to create this miasma and the animals' transformations. However, on the 10th day after this group had entered the mountains, one of the shaman masters with the highest skills escaped back and his entire body was ulcerated. Despite the shaman lady's best effort to save him, on his deathbed, he only uttered the words, "Evil beast," and died. Evil beast. Ghost Li and Xiao Bai, in their hearts, repeated the words. From that moment, the shaman tribe finally knew. A strange creature had appeared in the 10,000's great mountains. And then after many trips of investigations and sacrificing many brave warriors' lives, they came to know that the creature had appeared suddenly in the mountains and possessed inconceivable abilities. Under his evil powers, the original exuberant mountains had turned barren, the clear streams filled with venomous fluid and poisonous miasma filled the air. And the multifarious animals in the forests had also turned into monsters by his powers, transforming into various human bear, human tiger, human leopard, human wolf etc. evil creatures, savage and human-eating, extremely horrible. Ghost Li's lips suddenly twitched, interrupted. Was there a human fish in it? The great shaman's back suddenly stiffened, after a moment of silence, as if recalling something, slowly nodded. That's right, the tribe's legend said that in that 10,000's great mountains savage barbarians, there is indeed a species of human fishes. Why, don't tell me you. Ghost Li, after remaining silent, eventually still spoke. That's right. I had once encountered such a human fish creature in the western Big Marsh. The great shaman's body shook greatly. He finally could not bear it, abruptly turned around. The firelight shone onto his wrinkles, as if engraved deeply by the long years, and his voice right now was already hoarse. You actually saw these creatures? Ghost Li silently but affirmatively nodded. The great shaman's face blanched, stammered. It had appeared. It had finally appeared. Heaven's will. Heaven's will, but why would they appear in the west? The entrance of the 10,000's great mountains, isn't it guarded by the cultivated Fenxiong Valley? On his face, fear and confusion oscillated unceasingly, appeared to be lost in his own thoughts. Ghost Li stretched his hand and gently patted the elder's shoulder. The great shaman's body shook, like being shook awake, looked at Ghostly, his expression slowly calmed down and then turned around again, facing the fire. I better continued. Anyway, if it's heaven's will, we mortals can do nothing. His voice seemed more bleak. After knowing the existence of this creature, the shaman tribe never had a day of peace again, and as time went by, the different monsters under the evil beast started to come out of the mountains. Like that, news of the tribe people being killed were heard from different areas and the number of people kept increasing until it had reached a state of outright panic among the people. In the end, the Paleo shaman tribe commoners started to abandon their homes and migrate to the north. If that went on, the entire shaman tribe would soon be destroyed. The shaman lady initially wanted to gather more of the creature's information, before strategizing on how to get rid of the creature. However, at that time, the people were indignant and the situation had reached its most dangerous point. In the end, she decided to gather all of the shamans and warriors in the entire tribe and go forward to face this peerless evil creature. To fight till death in order to save the shaman tribe, unexpectedly. On the night that the shaman lady made this decision, the evil beast led his innumerable demons and suddenly attacked from the mountains and straight to the altar. The altar was where the shaman tribe people worshipped the shaman deity, and had always been the lifeblood of the tribe. The holy deity could not be violated. That night, it could be said that whoever was in the tribe, regardless whether man or woman, even slightly older child, all dashed into the battle scene and fought with their lives against the ferocious demons. The great shaman's voice until here stopped gently, and Ghostly and Xiao Bai both held their breaths. That bloody massacre scene in the ancient history, in this dimness, in the great shaman's bleak words, once again, quietly emerged. That fierce battle was definitely not what we could imagined. What our tribe forefathers passed down in each generation only touched the surface of that battle. Anyway, after blood had dyed all of the ground trampled by feet's red, after countless warriors using their bodies perished with the demons, the evil beast eventually still led some evil demons and charged into the last fort where the shaman lady was defending the altar. And outside the altar, the massacre was still going on. Just that, the great shaman deity at that moment finally started to protect its people, and the shaman lady was widely acknowledged as the most powerful shaman in history. After an earth-shaking fight, the evil beast and his few fearless demon henchmen were finally trapped by the shaman lady using 8 savage inferno formation, passed down by the Paleo shaman deity. What? Ghostly and Xiao Bai suddenly exclaimed. The great shaman puzzledly turned and glanced at them, said, "The 8 savage inferno formation, what about it?" Ghostly and Xiao Bai looked at each other, after a moment, said, "This name is quite unusual." The great shaman sighed and said, "This formation was handed down by the Paleo shaman deity, activated by a rare treasure with the essence of 1,000 fires, Inferno Mirror. Its power was very strong, and at that time, even the evil beast with unparalleled power was also trapped in this formation. The morales of the shaman people were boosted greatly, and those evil creatures, without their leader, were in a disorder, finally were gradually forced to retreat. Just that even though the power of 8 savage inferno formation was boundless, but the evil beast's powers were not ordinary. Under the day and night unceasing 8 fire dragons fire. Although heavily injured, but it still survived and continued to face off with the shaman lady. At that time in the entire altar, because of the great power of the formation, the other shaman masters could not go near and help. Only the shaman lady using her own shaman powers maintained this powerful formation. Like that for 3 days and 3 nights, when the entire tribe almost lost it because of that evil beast actually broke through the formation, but although the evil beast escaped, but it was already on the verge of death and without a moment's hesitation, flew directly back to its nest in the mountains. And when the crowd rushed to the altar, the shaman lady was also spent, almost at her limit. Just that shaman lady was really an admirable figure. After only a day of rest, heavily injured, but she decided to enter the mountains alone and finished off that evil beast. Because if that evil beast recovered, then that would be the end of the shaman tribe. Xiao Bai sighed gently and said, "This shaman lady was really a heroine among women, with the heart of a bodhisattva. Such sacrifice for others." The great shaman lightly said, "We in the southern border do not believe in bodhisattva." Xiao Bai smiled and did not say anything. The great shaman continued, "At that time within the tribe, nobody agreed with the shaman lady's decision, and everyone knew that this time, she might never come back. But the shaman lady's mind was made up. Eventually she still left, but 7 of the bravest warriors escorted her. A total of 8 people entered the extremely treacherous mountains. On their journey in, they had to break through all obstacles and killed countless number of monsters. Finally on the 6th day, they came to the ancient cave where the evil beast resided. The shaman lady then made an unexpected decision. She wanted the others to wait outside the cave while she entered it alone. The 7 warriors naturally refused, but the shaman lady was determined and told them straightforwardly that they could do nothing even if they entered and instead would drag her down. Eventually the 7 warriors could only accede. After the shaman lady went in, there was no news of her anymore. The 7 warriors waited for a total of 2 days and 2 nights, and finally 2 of them could not wait any longer and wanted to go in and find the shaman lady, but the other 5 felt that they should continue to wait and obey the shaman lady's orders. Among the 7 warriors, an argument ensued, and in the end, the 2 warriors still went ahead and entered the cave, and from then on, there was no news of them anymore, like that, until the 5th day, when the remaining 5 warriors also gradually lost their confidence. The shaman lady miraculously staggered out from the cave. She at that moment seemed to have lost all of her blood and was frightfully white. But as the 5 warriors were overjoyed, they did not notice all of that. The shaman lady gave each warrior a shimmering object, tools filled with strange shaman powers, and told them, these 5 sacred objects were refined from the evil beast's body after she had destroyed it. But as the evil beast was a peerless evil creature formed from the malignant energy between heaven and earth, even though its body was destroyed, its soul could not be scattered. The 5 warriors were shocked. The shaman lady again spoke. So long these 5 sacred objects do not return again to this cave, the evil beast would never be revived again. After speaking, her body trembled incessantly, blood suddenly poured from the 7 apertures on her face. The 5 warriors were shocked. The shaman lady, using her last breath, urged them again and again that the entire shaman tribe should guard these 5 objects forever and must never let the evil beast revive again. If not, it would be the end of the tribe and the world. And she herself would forever stand guard outside this cave, using her own soul to suppress all of the Avalders, keeping them within the cave. After struggling to finish her words, the shaman lady could no longer hold on and passed away while standing, and the next moment, her body actually faced the cave and transformed into a stone statue. The great shaman's voice slowly sank. In the firelight, everyone's expressions looked strange, an indescribable look. After a long pause, Xiaobai with a long sigh said, "What a great lady." "But great shaman, why are you telling us this story?" The great shaman's back looked as if it was bended over by an invisible heavy burden, looked especially desolated. He did not answer Xiaobai's question, instead continued to speak. After the 5 warriors wept and grieved, they returned to the shaman tribe. Although the shaman lady died unfortunately, but the evil beast was a powerful foe never encountered before by the tribe, and finally repressed within that cave. The shaman tribe in their grief felt a few degrees of relief and joy. However, it was also at that moment, the 5 warriors who enjoyed great prestige, because of their achievements, started to fight among themselves while vying for the leadership of the tribe. The most unfortunate was, every shaman lady of each generation was appointed by the shaman lady of the previous generation, and that generation, the shaman lady did not leave any instructions. The 5 warriors at that time also totally forgot about this issue. Like that, a once prosperous and powerful shaman tribe under the tussle of the 5 warriors slowly split up. The common people also chose their own preferred man, and finally, it gradually disintegrated into the southern border today. Miao, Li, Zhuang, Tu and Jiao Shan tribes, and the 5 important sacred weapons are also each guarded by the 5 different tribes. When this heart-stopping ancient story finally concluded, Ghostly inhaled deeply, facing the great shaman's back, slowly said, "Senior, after telling us so much, could it be that you want me to help get the Miao's sacred weapon back?" This video will end here. Thank you for watching.